Caution. A virus has been detected.
Good morning, Kelsey. It is January 5th, and I have a head cold. Is that my voice? Is that my voice? What? You tagged me in the New Year's tag, and I now have to answer questions about 2014. So, let's get started. What was your favorite moment in 2014? That is a really hard question. I went on this really big vacation with my brother and my two little sisters, and then picked up our parents on the entire opposite coast and drove all the way back. And that probably doesn't actually count as a moment because it was a month, but it was really awesome. And together we actually managed to make a surprise visit to our friend Becca, which I don't know about you, but that's like the pride of my life. Back in January, watching her come out her front door and go, "Oh yeah, you guys get points for that," because she always sees everything coming. But then I also went to Seattle and met my all-time favorite author, who has a glorious beard. He does. And got to play cards with him. And yeah, that happened. Oh! And then my sister called on July 5th and announced that she was engaged. And then, like, a day later, 2 days later, I don't really remember. I should have written it down. She called me and asked me to be her maid of honor, which actually, that's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. Does that count? Does that count as a favorite moment? Because I can't, this whole thing, Kelsey, is going to be me not picking one thing. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That's just the way it's going to happen. Okay? Okay. What was your favorite TV show of 2014? So, Kelsey, I am turning into like this really, really grumpy old lady. I don't like things anymore. Like, I do, but I complain a lot. I actually had to like look back through this year's journals and figure out what I was watching to figure out what I actually like didn't complain about. Which apparently was a long stretch of Elementary, which I really, really loved. It was probably one of the more interesting Sherlocks that I've seen in a long time, because instead of like being asked to sit in awe of Sherlock, you learned from Sherlock, and so the audience and Watson were basically following him around and picking up his tricks and being invited to use them on Sherlock, because he had this puzzle about him. He had this mystery woman in his life. He had this old history. So I really enjoyed that because it made me feel like a really smart viewer, and I thought it was a really interesting take on Sherlock, that we as an audience could take his secret weapon and use it on him. The other show that I think did air this year was BBC's The Musketeers, which is just romping good fun. What was your favorite book of 2014? The Spirit War by Rachel Aaron, The Rogues Anthology compiled by George R. R. Martin, The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch, and The Slow Regard of Silent Things by Patrick Rothfuss. Spirit War, amazing magic, swords, mountains. The mountains talk to you. Rogues, full of short stories about people who are ridiculous and steal stuff and play tricks, and how can I not love that? Lies of Locke Lamora, again, stealing stuff. More stealing stuff and crazy fun and swordplay and swearing. And so far, my favorite character is still alive. Slow Regard of Silent Things is just gorgeous. What was your resolution in 2014? I believe the only one that I was willing to make in 2014 was that I was going to write a book. I did not write a book. I wrote 50,000 words of a book in November. We'll work on that. And do you have a resolution for 2015? I'm gonna write a book! Maybe two. I don't know. I have a lot of plans for this year, but I'm not big on resolutions. I think I just don't like the idea that I should wait until January 1st to make changes for the better. I think I should do them when I decide that I need them. And also, there's just so much negative juju around resolutions, and why would I ever want to make something that, like, people expect to be broken? I know there's no such thing as bad luck, but I really feel like making a decision on January 1st is like begging for it to fail. So I don't. What did you do on New Year's Eve? I stayed home with my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, my 2 younger sisters, and my uncle. We had a gigantic seafood feast like we do every year. There was shrimp, and there was scallops, and there was grilled steak, so I guess actually it's not. There used to be like crab and sometimes lobster. It's not as seafoody as it used to be, but it's delicious. And there's still steak in my fridge. It should really get eaten soon. I'll do that today. We stayed up till midnight. We watched the ball drop. My brother and my little sister and I stayed up and watched a Doctor Who two-parter, and then we all went to bed. What else do you do? What are you most excited about in 2015? Everything. I have 3 weddings I'm going to in March, April, and May. One of which is my sister's. And then we're going to get my little sister into college. And then after we get her packed up and moved off to the world of academia, I'm going to get myself packed up and moved off to the opposite coast because I can. I'm going to continue blogging, and I'm going to watch lots of movies and TV and do all the things that I normally love to do, and I don't know, stuff. Unexpected things just always happen, and I'm happy. And that would be the last of the questions. Is that enough, Gwen, to your Elsie?